Erica. How are you doing today?
Making it. I'm alive.
Yeah, right
That's
on.
like the vibe, right?
Yeah, facts, big facts. So, are we gonna get to see like different glasses throughout this?
Oh, that would have been great. That would have been a great idea. I should have just like changed them out. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
bring them.
yeah. How many? So, like officially, how many pairs of glasses do you actually own?
Great question. So I have about 40 and they're all prescription. But in like the last 3 years, I probably had close to 70.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I get tired of them and so I donate them. So, which if you didn't know, you can donate your eyeglasses, which is helpful.
I didn't know that. So, Tiffany, you don't know this, but you would be in like different locations. Like if we showed up to an event, like during every kind of like break, she'd come in with different pair of glasses.
She was already laughing, like she knew where this was going.
Yeah, I knew exactly where it was going because we had a meeting one day, and every time this one dude noticed that I had different glasses on, I would just change them out, and I had at least like 6 or 7 pair of glasses. I was ready.
Yeah,
I was ready.
that's crazy. All right. Well, okay. So can I do it now? Okay. All right. So I had a dream. I dreamt this up, and we are going to play a little game. Side note, I woke up after I had this dream that I dreamt. I pitched it to Tiffany. She seemed very unsure about it. How do you feel about it now, Tiffany?
Silence. Crickets.
Her response was kind of like, when we do the breakdown, let's make sure we put it in a spot that's easy for Anthony to cut out. So if it ends up being a hot mess, that's fine.
Hey, I'm here for it.
Okay.
Awesome.
So the name of the game is That's My Jam, 90s R&B edition.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it.
Yes, it's
I'm here for
strategically
it.
called That's My Jam in hopes that Jimmy Fallon sees this, takes legal action, and we go viral. Okay, so Tiffany and I will each have 2 cards. That's 4 songs. We're going to read the song lyrics. Every card has lyrics, the artist, and the name of the song. Okay? So you have until the end of us reading the lyrics to guess either the artist or the name of the song. And if you can guess both, the points are the same. So doesn't actually
The points don't matter. Sure.
doesn't
Let's do
actually
it.
matter. So you ready? When you're ready to guess, by the way, just say pause and we'll pause.
Okay.
But if you only get 2 guesses, so don't waste time.
Okay.
All right, Tiffany, here's your 2 cards. Here's my 2 cards, and then we have our deck for when we decide we don't like a card that we picked.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Song number 1. Ooh, I love this song. Okay. It could all be so simple, but you'd rather
Oh,
make it.
pause. Lauren Hill. Oh, jeez. What's the name of the song?
That was Tiffany too. She's like,
Is it Zion? No, it's not Zion.
no,
I mean, she only got one album, so
Oh,
I mean, she got more than one.
okay.
that's the
We
one I
only
remember.
listen to the
yes.
All right, so it's X Factor. You got that one. You got that one. Though it's Lauryn Hill.
Right.
All right, Tiffany.
All right. Heard about my past, things I used to do, the games I used to play, the girls that didn't last. I know what's on your mind. You think I'm doing wrong. Can I say what is real? You are the only one. When I'm not around, do you think of me or what the jealous ones are claiming me to be?
That's my jam.
You should know now.
It's my jam too. It's the problem
That is-
is it's like I don't know either like the song or like I don't know the name. I don't know the name of most songs. I just know that it's my jam and let's go. Say the first line again.
Heard about my past, things I used to do, the games I used to play, the girls that didn't last. I know what's on your mind.
Okay,
You
pause.
think
Ah! I can't think of it.
All right, that one's John B.
That is not who I was thinking.
Who were you?
Tupac?
No.
All right, song number 3.
Okay.
I don't know if you're gonna get this one, but we're gonna try it.
Oh, you have a deck.
Yeah.
Okay, let's try it.
All right. The party is here on the west side, so I reach for my
Oh,
port.
what do you mean I'm not going to get
I
it?
reach for my porty.
Montel Jordan.
Okay, yep, got it.
This is how we do it.
Okay, I started to write you letters, but I wanted to be more clever. I want
Pause. 7 Camel.
Dang, okay.
Don't think about it.
All right, 3 out of 4. That's pretty good.
Great.
You have the highest score out of any guest we've ever had.
Guess you know a little.
Great.
You're 1 of 1, Erica. You're 1
One
of
of
1.
one.
Yes, yes.
I'm number 1.
All right, so now we know your 90s R&B bag is pretty deep.
It's pretty.
All right.
Yeah, actually, Tevin Campbell is probably my number 2 go-to like karaoke song.
Yeah.
Karaoke.
We can unpack that later. All right. Let's get to it. Okay. So if it's your first time here, welcome. If you already know the energy, welcome back. I'm Jordan, aka Jay, aka the chosen one, aka Big Stepper, and I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Tiffany. I'm just excited for everyone who's here to join us today. And we're going to get into our chat again about journeys and insights breaking into the tech world. So welcome back. Welcome here.
And today we are here with a special guest. She's a podcast host, a published author, soon to be holder of a PhD in being a G. Childhood prodigy makes Doogie Howser look like a scrub. In Scrubs Delta, we not talking about the airline, baby. Miss Impromptu, Bust a Move, Erica, cruising down the street in my 6'4" Veal. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What are you talking about? What kind of intro was that? Oh man, was that me? But yeah, I am Erica Veal, aka Evil. I'm soon to be Dr. Evil. I am from Portsmouth, Virginia. It is the most dangerous city in VA, also the place where Missy Elliott calls home. I currently live in the DMV area, and I have been working in the tech industry for years.
Okay, right on. So like, what do you currently do? What's your current role?
Cool. I am a customer success engineer. And as a customer success engineer, what I do is I help customers be successful at like whatever it is that they're trying, whatever their goals are, trying to implement the software that we provide them.
What's kind of funny about that is Tiffany was asking me, what does she do? I'm like, oh, she does what I used to do when I was over there. And she's like, okay, like, but what does she do?
Yeah.
So you just never talked about what it is that you did.
So I'm just like, well, do you know what I do right now? She's like, what do you do?
But that's the hallmark of like a true bond where you just don't know what the person does for a living. Like, how do you earn cash? Like, how are you paying for life?
That's facts.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just glad. Thank you for joining us today, Erica. So welcome to our show. And I would like to head into my questions about technology.
Sure.
I want to know your origin story. So could you tell us? Yeah, tell us your
So where do you want me to start?
You can start from where you were first conceived, or you could start like whatever feels right when it comes to
So my dad saw my mom as he was picking up Dunkin' Donuts, and he was like, right here, right now, it's gotta happen.
Yesterday it was Applebee's. Today it's Dunkin' Donuts.
So my parents met in high school.
Oh, okay, all right.
So I guess we'll start like I've always been interested in tech and just numbers and math and all of that jazz. And so as a kid, I've just been fiddling with a lot of computers and things like that. And so I got a full ride to Norfolk State University, and I went for chemistry, but learned that was hard. Also, it required biology, and I don't know nothing about the body. So I changed my major to math with no direction. Just was like, I like numbers. And so I did math. And then Norfolk State offered me another full ride to get my master's in optical engineering. And I was like, cool. So going from $0 to 18,000, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was bags on bags. Okay. I was like, I'm living a life. All I had to do was go to school, and I was getting money. Say less. So I was like, let's keep this party going. They paid for another master's for me in computer science. And I was like, let's do it. Let's keep it going. They was like, so what we can't do is get you another degree because you got them all. So we need you to go and get a real job. And so I went to apply for a job, and it required a clearance. So in an interim, I had to find another job because they couldn't have me working while they was doing the clearance process. So I became a high school geometry teacher, and it was live. It was a whole lot. It was a lot going on. I got hit in the face with a hole puncher. One of my students killed his mom.
Oh, no.
And it was a school shooting.
Oh my God.
Wow.
We could talk about that in a different episode. But yeah, it was live. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed teaching everybody. But because it was so live, I was like, let's go and do something else. So I became a nuclear engineer. Only thing I liked about that was telling people I was a nuclear engineer. And whenever they asked me, what did I do for a living? I said, it's classified. I can't talk about it. And so yeah, I left there. I transitioned over to a system admin slash SharePoint engineer. And I stayed there for about 10 years. And after that, I was like, I probably should do something that's a little bit more modern that I could propel my career. And so I became a junior cloud architect. And a month after I got into that role, the guy that was supposed to be training me, he left. So I was the only architect and I had to learn real quick. I did that for about 2 or 3 years. And then I went to a data monitoring company and I left there. And now I'm in the role that I'm in now, which is we deal with data monitoring as well. And now I'm a customer success engineer. And that is my journey.
You have
Welcome to my
lived.
TED.
Yeah, for sure. You have lived. Okay, so I have a question. All right. So what did that transition look like in terms of you being inspired? Did you wake up one day and go, oh, I want to be a cloud architect? Like, what did that transition look like?
It was a lot of research, honestly. I did realize that staying in the role that I was in, it only led to a certain path. And I kind of wanted to be able to explore more. And I was a little scared, mainly because I was transitioning into something that I had no insight on. I didn't have any history. And so getting a new job, I had to really understand my technical acumen and understand what things I would have to learn and what areas I wanted to focus on. So the role that I was in as a SharePoint engineer, they had a project that allowed that was working in the cloud. And so I was like, hey, can I get in on that project? And they allowed me to. So I had a little bit of experience before I went to that interview for a junior cloud architect. But once I got into that role, I was really excited to learn from this guy, but then he left me. And so then I had to do a lot of late nights, early mornings. Shout out to Marsha Ambrosia, because I wanted to do well in that job. I wanted to do well in that role. And so I studied, I got certifications. Not that they matter, but it was like building out these environments so that I could learn how to do the job well. Because in order to succeed, it makes sense to just know the job inside out. And once I started doing cloud, I was like, oh, I love this. I love the idea, the concept of it all. My granddad asked me, so what do you do? And I was like, I have no idea. I explained the cloud to my grandfather. I was like, I sell stuff on the internet.
That's dope.
All right. So, Erica, we know that you are an aunt. So we have kind
Auntie
of
vibes.
Yeah, we kind of have a question about, just if your nephews, if your nieces come to you and they say to you that they're interested in doing technology or cybersecurity, what advice would you give to them?
Great question. First thing I'm gonna ask is why? Why? And I say that jokingly, but I mean it. I've had the youths ask me what it is that that they want to get in and how can I transition into it. And I truly ask them why. And especially because in this day and age, there is a lot of it's a lot of publicity around STEM and getting you into STEM, and it not forces, but it encourages a lot of people to get into fields that they are not equipped for, that they are not passionate about. And I understand that, especially in the beginning stages of your career, passion is just not even a issue. It's profit. You're trying to figure out how will I make the most money. But if you're not good at IT, at cybersecurity, people are going to find out quick. And you're not going to survive. And so I ask them, like, what is it that you truly want to do? Where do you want to go with this? And if it's not your passion, you probably shouldn't like do it. But of course, try. Another thing that I like to tell my nieces and nephews, and I actually had this conversation yesterday, is like failure is okay. Again, we live in the society where we promote a lot of positive things. We promote the destination often. We don't promote the journey. And I think that it's setting up the youth in a way where they think that they're supposed to be successful at everything that they do, or that people who are in a successful place will just, it was a straight shot. And as you can see, my background was all over the place.
Yeah.
And I think that your journey should have peaks and valleys. I like the fact that I got stories. I like the fact that I'm piquing people's interest by like telling them, how did you go from a geometry teacher to a nuclear engineer? Like it just doesn't sound like it was a real thing. Even though I did tell my students that I was a stripper. But anyway.
All right.
So yeah, I think that failure should be encouraged, and that you should be able to bounce back from whatever that failure is. That's how you get to be successful. Everybody that is successful has failed. Everybody.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. So I know that you are working on your PhD in being a G, but you're also working on something smarter than that, obviously. So what do you hope, first of all, what are you getting your PhD in? And what do you kind of hope to do with that? Because I know you have really interesting use case.
Great question. So I am working on organizational diversity. And the first thing that most people think of when they hear organizational diversity is like getting more people of color in, or underrepresented people. But a lot of times it is also like the diversity of thought, or making sure that the people that are there are well protected. So my research that I am starting is in AI. It is algorithmic bias. And it's a lot of bias that comes into those AI systems that we're building. So these systems are built on pre-trained information, and that pre-trained information is historically skewed in one way. And so the systems are only producing what it's learning, what it has learned historically, what has happened. So for instance, when it comes to AI reviewing, say, an application for a CEO, historically, CEOs have been white males. If an AI generator or AI system looks at a resume and sees Spelman College, it's going to be like, nah, historically, this is not who we want in this position. That is algorithmic bias. It is learning from the history of what's going on. So you need humans in the mix in order to make sure that that doesn't happen, that we only scrub out the things that won't narrow down the focus of who we're trying to gear towards. I don't know if that made sense, but
yeah, no, that's.
So yeah, I could nerd out about this all day. I love data science, AI, diversity, like all of it kind of meshed together. It's just like, I'm having a time.
Tiffany, don't you you were telling me you were reading a book that kind of aligned with what she's talking about?
Yeah, Weapons of Math Destruction. So when I hear her say that, I'm like, oh, I know about this. I read this. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And what I truly love is that the concept of algorithmic bias and weapons of math destruction, like, it's women at the helm that's talking about these things. And a lot of those women are people of color. And so it's just like gets me super excited to be like a part of something where you get to see people like you doing something that you're passionate about. And yeah, if you haven't read Weapons of Math Destruction, chef's kiss, like, wonderful book.
Yeah,
There's another one called The Big Nine that talks about the top 9 companies and how they're basically like, soon everything's going towards those companies, like the Googles, the Apples, the Netflix, the Microsofts of the world. We can take that out if you want.
Oh no, I'm writing that book down. Trust
I'm
me.
like the table shaking right now as she's like nervously typing. What did she say? What did she say? Right on.
I can give you a list of books. I am nerd, and Jordan already knows this. She knows that I read a lot. That was one of the first things she was like, "You love to read," and I was like, "So."
I think did your website like have a list of all the books you've read or something like that?
Yeah, it's not all of them, but it's a significant amount of them. The ones that I've read maybe in the last, I want to say 3 years, maybe.
Yeah, I just
No,
know
I don't even think it's 3 years. I think it's 2 years.
my attention span's not built like that. Like I went through your website and I'm like scrolling. I'm like, this is stupid. Who reads this much? Gosh. I'm just kidding. No, that's awesome.
So there's a couple of documentaries that I would recommend. Coded Bias is the first one. It is where it all kind of started. Dr. Joy is her name. And she was doing her research and she realized that the facial recognition software wasn't recognizing her face unless she put a white mask up. And then she was like, oh, what's going on? And so she started doing research and saw that there was a discrepancy. And it's like when you Google woman, a lot of like white women come up because that's that bias that's in it. It just automatically defaults to white women. So she realized that there is a lot of facial recognition software that is doing that. And it was out on the market. And this software that's on the market is doing things like facial surveillance, trying to recognize people on the street who are criminals, and it's falsely recognizing people. And so those people are being jailed unwillingly, like without any cause, right? And so there's a lot of bias in the data. And so they're trying to rectify that. And the way that they rectify that is through things like social media. So there's a lot of like those filters and things like that that forces you to put your camera up so that you are just staring at this the device or whatever. And this is how they're collecting that data from you. So if you look into like the terms and the conditions of a lot of like social media content or social media platforms, then you'll see that anything that you upload to their site is theirs. They can do whatever they want with it. And what they're doing is training their algorithms on your data. And so that's like what they started doing it when you were tagging yourself in the pictures in Facebook. That's what they were doing. They're taking your data and they're starting these facial recognition things. And so while on one hand it's convenient, you're like, oh, this is cool, I can see all the pictures that have me in it. But on the other hand, they're taking your data without your consent and using it for their own algorithms and metrics.
That's crazy. I didn't know any of that, to be honest. Like, I'm not super tapped into AI at all. My friend, he will send me articles and like videos. We're like, oh, check this out. It'll get you really tapped into AI. I'm like, cool. Like, and I never go back and watch it.
It is like, it depends on who's delivering the information. And sometimes it's not really interesting. And a lot of it is really like, it's scary because it's like, iRobot, the world's going to blow up, blah, blah, blah. They're going to take over sentient beings, blah, blah, blah. We're nowhere there because the AI systems that we have now are trying to learn from the history of what we're doing. And obviously the history of what we're doing is trash. So it's it's not there yet. And so currently there's no real like cause for commotion. The AI systems that we have today, they will help us be a little bit more productive. So like ChatGPT, if you're not using it to write your emails or write proposals and things like that, then you are wasting a resource. That's a good resource. Like, I don't write emails no more. Like, because I'm rude. That's mainly I'm rude as hell. I just like, why are you emailing me? Stop it. And then I put it in ChatGPT and like make this nicer.
I used ChatGPT the other day because I was like, we should probably get our guest to sign something. ChatGPT, make something for our guests to sign. Make a disclaimer.
And that's honestly what it's used for, because it's already perused the internet and found all of the different legal documents that's on the internet, and it can draft you up something. And it may not be perfect, but it'll give you like that baseline of what you need. And so like I've been using it for school to be like, make me an outline for my paper. Because that's the hard part. Like, how can I organize these thoughts? Mm-hmm. Like, make an outline based on this, and then I'll just write the paper on this, because they found me out. I can't use ChatGPT.
Everyone's using it. You're fine.
I'm not, though.
Yeah, you're okay. So here she is. What was it you were trying to figure out? You were like trying to figure something out one day.
posting. I'm like, I usually don't post anything. So I feel like I'm like, I'll sit here for 80 minutes and then never post anything to my site. So I'm trying to figure it out. And Jordan is like, just use ChatGPT. And I'm like, I don't have it because they're robots and they're going to get me.
Let's clarify though. Let's clarify. She used ChatGPT to make a LinkedIn post.
I did too. Don't feel bad. I did too.
She used it to make a LinkedIn post. She's like, make it short and also say this.
It's anxiety inducing, okay? Like,
yeah, and she still doesn't have ChatGPT. She uses my phone.
Yes, I do. I grab her phone and go, can I type this up?
Oh, so that's why I feel you, because what I have is I have a different account that I use like ChatGPT. So I have a whole persona on the internet that ain't me. Her name is Anastasia Beaverhausen. She is into the mess. Let me tell you.
She's in the subreddit.
She is just, what's she over there doing? Acting up.
Oh no.
So that's what I do. I use that account whenever I feel like, oh, this is about to be messy, but I need this information. So
that's the account she uses to access the dark web. I love that for you. I do.
Thank you.
So I think you wanted to ask about resources.
Oh, yes. I've already taken one resource from you, must read. But not just for me, but for the people who are tuned into our show today, what are some resources that you feel like were helpful for you along the way that could provide benefits to other people who are making their journey or transition?
The number one resource, which I hate terribly, are people. I am an introvert, and so like getting to know new people like is very cringe. But honestly, it is the best resource. There are a lot of smart people that are out there. There are people that may oppose what you think, and you can learn from that as well. But being able to network is very important. I really don't like the word network because it implies to me that I am forcing conversations that usually wouldn't have happened. But I've been involved in networking events. One of the ways that I actually went from being a nuclear engineer to system admin was through a networking event. All the Deltas at the organization I was at, we all got together for a holiday party. One Delta was like, tell her. And I was like, no, I don't know what's going on. She was like, tell her. And so the woman that was telling me to tell her, she was like the second highest ranking woman in the company. Mm-hmm. And the one that she was telling me to tell it to was the first highest ranking woman. And I was like, I don't like my job. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, she was like, I'll talk to such and such and we'll get you an interview, and got me an interview and I got the job. But the part that made it hard for me, that was the easy part. The hard part was like keeping the job and making sure that I didn't make her look bad, because when you do network, you have to remember that somebody is putting their name on the line for you. So networking is definitely a big one. Even if it's networking within your own circle, outside of your circle is really important. A thing that I do when I first get to a company is network. When you have that like lull before they give you like real work, I schedule 30-minute calls with everybody that's on my team. And I ask two major questions. One is, what is it that you wish you had known when you first got here? And then the second question I ask is, who do you think I should talk to next? And then I go and talk to that person. And so I talk to people on my team. I talk to my manager. I talk to my manager's manager and my manager's manager. And then I go across to the teams that I will be working with, those adjacent teams that I'm working with, so that I can build a rapport with them as well and understand what it is that I can do to help them do their job better. Now I'm building relationships within the company and things like that. So I think that those are different ways that you can network. Some other resources is, you've mentioned it before, is labbing, like creating your own lab at home so that you can just test out things. Having that hands-on experience is very important. And like we said before, I love to read. I read a book. I read books. I read the news. I read articles, because that's where the truth is, like the true research and the truth is. And so you need to go to those places. The news will tell you what's to come, give you a little bit of insight of what's going on. Checking out major company conferences because they are leading the industry. And so you want to go to those conferences, go to those webinars just to see what it is that they're doing so that you can start connecting dots yourself. And that is all the talking I'll do about that.
Yeah.
You're speaking about conferences. Jordan was telling me that you actually went to the Afrotech recently. Is there any?
Yeah.
Man. Afrotech. It was the best, blackest thing I have ever. It was like a cookout, a homecoming, and like a tech conference all like rolled into one.
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful my company like sent me, and I'm just like, I'm going back next year, regardless if they want me to go or not, I'm going. It truly was a space where I felt like myself. You don't realize that you code switch. I'm old enough to know that like code switching is a thing and so ingrained in me that like I don't even realize that I'm doing it. But you code switch at work and you're not realizing like, oh, I am doing X, Y, and Z, or I'm not saying this word because I'm around these people, whatever it is. But being at Afrotech, I was talking to this one guy. We saw this speaker, and we was having this really interesting conversation. And the whole time, like, throw that ass in a circle was going on in the background. And we're just like, wouldn't have happened at any other conference. And so then I find out that this dude built the camera that's in my phone. And he also went to Yale. And he was just like, you and I, like just a normal dude, like just regular. And it was just like, that's what I really liked about it, that people that looked like me, that was just normal, that just wanted to like hang out and like have a good time, but we also can speak at a very high level. It was just like home. Like if you haven't gone, go. Just one time, you're sold.
It's interesting you say that because like I was telling Tiffany, I've told her many times though, that I get frustrated working Monday through Friday. It feels like I'm being very performative all the time, just being very, very performative. So, I mean, I'm sold on Afrotech now. Like, we got to get them tickets.
Yeah.
We going.
and everybody, like they say at work, come as your true self, come, blah, blah, blah. That's not like it. You realize how unreal that is when you go to Afrotech and you're just like, oh, this is what my true self is. This is what like authenticity is. Like, I love this. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for sharing that with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know that you volunteer with, I think it's called Black Girls Code.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So my first thing is like, what do you do with that? And then my next question is, are there any other like groups or like community involvement that you're into in the tech space?
So Black Girls Code is a fantastic organization. Basically, they're trying to get more Black and brown girls into the tech space, especially in the DMV area. We have a lot of push towards tech, and there's a lot of interest here. And so what we do is we hold workshops for the young ladies, and during those workshops, we teach them things like Python, how to draw and make art with code. We've done 3D printing. We've done robotics. We have workshops. If there is some type of tech conference or movie or something like that, like we try to expose them to as much tech as possible to show them that there are people that look like them in this industry, and it's okay, and you're not other for wanting to do something like this. It's been a blast. I've been with Black Girls Code since like 2016, and if you have a Black Girls Code in your area, I highly suggest that you do it. Just get involved, take your young girls there, your nieces, your daughters, all the things, or just volunteer.
Okay, so I want to go back really quick because there was something you said that drew up a memory for me, and I don't know if you remember it, but you were talking about scheduling 30-minute meetings with all of the people. So when I first got to the company, scheduled a 30-minute call with Veal, and basically, me, like I start out, hey, what's up? How's it going? And basically I wasn't saying anything. And here goes Veal. She's like, so usually when I set up meetings like this, I, ask these questions, like a passive aggressive, like, okay, like if we're going to be doing this.
I'm just like, why are we here? What's happening? What's the agenda? Give me some some insight. Like I don't mind, as you can see, I don't mind just talking. Like I just need like some context of what we're talking about. But yeah, I like to get to know people. I do like to get, especially the Black people at the organization. Like I've reached out to every Black person in my company and was just like, hey, let's talk. Let's go. Like we need to know each other. And I did the same thing. I asked them like what their job is, what it is that they do, how are they providing value? Because I know my little corner of the world and they know theirs. And so it's just like, oh, you're in legal, but what are you doing? Like, what are we legalizing? I don't know. And so, yeah, it helped me to see like all the different aspects of the company. And then when I needed help, like yesterday in legal, I was like, I need an NDA. Can you help me? You Black person? I was like, oh yeah, I got friends all over the place now. So yeah, just make sure you have like some questions is all I'm saying whenever you schedule a 30-minute meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're here to see each other.
Yeah. I'm just like, I just wanted to say what's up. And you're just like, there could be a more productive way to do this. That was like 90% of our relationship at work. She's like, so do you have any thoughts? And I'm like, as long as your ideas aren't, crazy, I'll rock with it.
That is literally what she always say. And she was like, that sounds right. And I was just like, okay, all right. I'm like, I know that and that's the thing. A lot of people don't believe that they're wrong. And I constantly believe I'm wrong. And that might be like some other issues that I'm talking to my therapist about, but it's also like I value Jordan's opinion. I think that she's a very smart and brilliant person, and I want her feedback. I value that feedback. And even if it's counter to anything that I'm saying, like I said before, having adverse ideas is important to build the conversation. You don't necessarily have to convince the other person of the other view, but understanding the other person's point of view is important in order to progress a conversation.
Yeah, for sure. Collaboration is key, always. So I know we asked it before, but are there any because Tiffany's a part of, Black Girls Hack and all these other like groups on the side and LinkedIn and stuff, right? Do you have any specific, like if you think about it, any specific like social media groups you're a part of or anything like that helps you to stay current in what you're doing? I know you mentioned the news, but are there like any groups in particular?
So I am if I have a lot of things going on, I get distracted very quickly. I don't want to say I have ADHD because I haven't been diagnosed, but I can't have too many things going. There aren't too many social media things, mainly because I don't believe everything on the internet is true. And it's very hard to find like specific social media outlets. Within the Delta community, because I am a Delta, we have a technology committee and we have like regional and on a national level. And so I get to talk to those women to see what it is that they're doing and how it all like relates together and the different areas that they're in. So that's another way that I communicate with other people. But specific groups, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Okay. That's cool.
But I'm sure like immediately after this call, I'm like, I'm a part of this and this.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Like I said, if you think of anything, we'll go ahead and stick it on our website for people to go back and look at.
Will do.
Yeah, for sure.
Veal, you brought up a question and I'm like, oh, we should ask you that question as well. Like, is there anything you know now that you wish you had known in the beginning or when you first started any of this?
Great question. So in the current role that I'm in now as a customer success engineer, I didn't know that there was going to be a lot about sales and like marketing and things like that. And so that was a part that I kind of came in unknowingly. And so the part that I learned, I had two different reactions. One is from a provider perspective. I understood like the point of it, like the goal is to get this product into the customer's hands and help them reach their goals and identify new goals for them, which makes sense, and help them to get to those goals. That is my job quickly. But on the consumer side of things, I was like, oh, so this is how they get you. And that's when they changed from like the one-time price to the subscription model. And it's just like, oh, okay, now I understand like all the ins and outs of it. So I kind of wish I knew that before I got into the role, because it just kind of gives me a different outlook on things. And before all of this, I wish that I knew that the failures were common, and that and I wasn't wrong or bad or whatever for not succeeding in a certain role. And like, things happen and it's fine. You can always pick yourself back up. It's harder if you just kind of wallow in it for a while, but give yourself time to grieve on whatever it is that you failed at. And I think that that's the part that is missing. People feel like they fall and they have to immediately get back up. You can grieve. You can be sad about it. It's all right. You can cry.
She preaching right now. I got chills, boy. I got chills, boy. That's great. That was good. That was good.
No, it was, yeah. If you would like to know more about Erica Veal, or future Dr. Evil, check out her podcast or read about her book. You can get to all of that by going to her website at ericaveal.com.
Well, I think we actually can wrap up. The only thing I need to mention is the event that's probably not going to happen. I don't know if you know about this, but we are trying to have a 90s R&B and tech talk event. Hence the reason we wanted to play the game at the beginning, kind of like a little nod to it, an event that may or may not happen. We don't know yet. Are you coming? Are you going to do it? Are you going to present?
Give me more information. It sounds fun.
Okay, more information. March 14th, 2024. Maybe. We already have a space. We already have an Anthony. And now we just need 3 presenters to commit in order to make this happen. People got commitment issues, right? So right now we got 2 maybes, but we have no confirmation.
So you got two possibles.
Two possible. No one
possible.
No one wants. No one wants to
right now. One of the possible. Okay. Well, I'm here. I'm here for it. If you need me, I will come.
Okay, and I don't feel bad about putting you on the spot. So
I don't feel bad about accepting on the spot.
Pressure. Yes. So if you're listening out there, listeners, if you are interested and you're willing to commit to March 14th, 2024, talking is going to be very chill. I had said last time I wanted it to be like a smoking word, which is actually an event that happens in Tampa. Shout out to Bar God and Nova. But I want it to be a very chill event where we have 3 presenters just going up there casually, talking about some things that, people are going to find interesting. And it's meant to be just like very, very chill, very cool. So no pressure. So yeah, that's that. Tiffany, do you want to go ahead and help us close it out? Wrap it up?
No. Thank you again. Thank you to everyone that came out to spend some time with us.
Yeah, thank you, Eviel. I appreciate it because I know your schedule is like stacked to the max. She's got like a presidential schedule over there. She's like, I got to do homework. Every time I would try to reach out to her after 5 o'clock, she's like, look, I got to do homework. I got to do homework. If I was to call her, she'd be like, oh, we could talk, but like also I got to do homework. So I know you are stacked. I really appreciate you taking the time. So thank you. We are humbled. We are honored. And we are looking forward to sharing this episode with people because I think they're going to be like, yo, first of all, you're super cool. But second, you just said a lot of cool stuff, a lot of interesting things. So thank you.
Hearts. Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. Thanks for having me.